Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes. I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul. And today is Wednesday, the 15th of July, I believe it is. And it's going to be a fascinating experience today because I've got my guardian angel John with me today, and he just said to call it Messages from John. And there's no specific format other than Q&A today. So I'm honored to say that we'll have that chance for that. I want to request that those of you that are joining, I want to welcome all the new visitors. And if you'd like to support the messages and information that we provide through these dispensations, I'll say, please become a member of my Patreon page, William Michael Forbes on Patreon. You can also just share, like this video, subscribe to the channel, get the information out there. We're at a very amazing time in human evolution right now. This massive ascension energies bringing all of the collective unconscious stuff up to be viewed, all of our darkness, all of our light being brought up to be conscious, giving us an opportunity to choose as a species and as individuals. Because, yeah, John was telling me it's important you understand there is a distinction between the many and the one, the oneness and the many of the one. That there are two different aspects of one and the same thing, although the many can function independent, freely from the one. From the perspective of the one, we function as a unified field. It's important to understand that during these times, there's going to appear to be a lot of divisions, a lot of conflict, a lot of uncertainty, and that these are the things that we need to transform within ourselves. These are the things we need to rise above in ourselves. We need to avoid getting lost in divisiveness within ourselves. That in and of itself will balance what's going on in the collective, or the whole, as you call it. Our little one is needing some attention here. Let's see here. I'm just going to give me a moment here. Okay, you come here. Take you up here. Just one moment. I'm gonna take this little one in to see her mama. Wonderful. Wow. So the energies are very intense, as you can see, for everybody. And thank you for being so patient. I just have to make certain she's just healing up a little injury she had on her spine. So we're being very mindful and careful of her. So we're giving her extra special care for a little while. Again, I want to thank everybody for showing up today. So today is predominantly going to be Q&A, whatever you want regarding what's going on in the world today. I mean, this ascension process of elevating our consciousness from being just a body and a mind to being a sentient being that can move through time, space, and matter without encumbrance is significant. And in terms of how it's going to impact this planet and how it impacts you as an individual. So again, with this whole virus thing and the masks and all that stuff that's going on, these are just symptoms of stuff hidden within our collective unconscious, the fears, the uncertainty, the fear of loss of freedom, the fear of all of these things that we have in our collective unconsciousness as a species. And as a species, humanity's been wrestling with this concept of freedom and unity, the rights of the individual versus the unity of the collective. And it's gone on for tens of thousands of years. What is right? Are the rights of the individual greater than the rights of the whole? Or are the whole of the rights of the whole, the good of all, superseding the rights of the individual? This has resulted, this conflict, this paradox is actually resolvable. It's very resolvable. He's telling me this right now. It's very resolvable if you understand that if you are conducting yourself in such a fashion that you are benefiting the well-being of others and yourself, there can be no invitation for harm, no invitation for fear, no invitation for suffering. The challenge that you all face now is getting everybody on board with the understanding that you must learn to treat everybody else as if they are yourself. And this has been the difficulty. Fortunately, this information age that you find yourself in is allowing information to move between individuals at a rate it has never been done before. You have the opportunity to make a choice of how you will conduct yourself in each and every moment. Will you choose to be free? And when I say freedom, I mean specifically from the perspective that you operate with full regard for all. That includes those that live in bodies that are animal bodies, those that live in human bodies, those that live in plant bodies. Do you treat all with love and respect that you yourself wish to be treated with? For the ascension process recognizes that your ability to rise above the limitations that are imposed specifically from matter are yours to release. You do not need, if you understand what I'm saying here now, you do not need this body at a certain point in your process. You will not need that body, but you need it as you learn and as you grow. But transcending the subjectivity that many of you have had to matter, time, and space is the key process of the ascension, raising your awareness above and beyond that which you currently think of as reality. Cool. So we're going to be really focusing on your questions today, what you want to understand about life in general, about yourself, and what can you do to enhance and improve the awareness that you have with regards to the process of ascension. Um, okay, a little bit of green stuff, good for the body. Okay, so let's. Hi everybody. Hi Miriam. Hi artist. Hi Hi Wei. Hi Tanya. Miriam. Hi everybody. So I'm gonna do again. We're gonna be focusing mostly on your questions and answers about life in general, your life. Yes, he's saying the reason there was no specific um, format for today is that the uncertainties that are currently uh, moving through from the unconscious levels of human expression to the conscious levels of human being, and we mean by the present moment, those things that you are aware of in your world that cause you uncertainty. As these things have moved into the conscious realm, you now have the opportunity to release them. And so there's no specific format for them because each and every one of you will have your awareness of those things within you that have arisen to remind you of what is hidden within you so that you may release it, whether that is fear or anger or guilt or shame or disappointment. All of these emotions do not serve you in your ascension, but they are aspects of your history that you still hold on to that you need to release. It is in the releasing of your past that you will find the liberation you are seeking. It is through that liberation from your past, and only from that liberation from your past, that you will find your freedom in the present. Yes. He was just sorry. I'm just laughing inside because he's saying to me that really we have to get out of our past. We really, really have to let go of our our remembering of what's happened and be in the present moment. Unfortunately, we all have memories, but fortunately, we all have memories as well, because then we have the opportunity to make a decision consciously. Do I want to hold on to this suffering? So let's start taking some Q&A, and let's see where this goes, because it's really important. This really is something that was put together for everybody. Understanding that you are not that body that you're sitting, but you utilize that body that you're sitting in. You're not the mind or the collaboration of thoughts and emotions that are in your mind, but you have them. They are not you, but you have them. They're instruments, tools for you to generate a creative expression and experience while in time, space, and matter. And until we can get control of those tools, like we are subjective to them. If we don't have any control over emotion, we are subjective to it. If we don't have any control over thought, we're subjective to it. And people that are struggling with uncontrollable emotions know this all too well, that they feel that they have no control. But what they don't realize is that these overwhelming emotions are the very instrument they need to learn the mechanism of self-control, the process of mastery, the process over energy, time, and space comes by understanding the fundamental core that emotion is energy in motion. And it was John that first told me about 10 months ago that emotion was the fifth state of energy, that emotion is the fifth state of energy. And that once people began to work with emotion, they would find their creative process becoming more effective. And so ultimately, it comes down to how do you use emotion? Where do you get it from? How do you generate it? Do you create it from within, or is it created from without? Uh, you learn these things. If you learn them, you can change and grow. If you can't, you're kind of feeling like your thoughts are yours and that's who you are, and your emotions are who you are, and that's not who you are. Your emotions and your thoughts are not who you are. They're mechanisms you have within the body that you use to create whatever you create in this physical dimension through your thoughts, words, and deeds and feelings. So let's get in some questions here and see we go. Yeah, just so, for those of you who asked, John is my guardian angel, and he's the being that told me not to jump off the bridge, 40 years ago. And thank goodness I listened. Um, and he's been with me ever since, and he's brought me into some amazing situations that have changed my life, and he's always been there for me. And every single one of us has a guardian angel. Some of us has multiple guardian angels. And it's important you understand how to connect to, listen to, and reach out to them so that you can get deliberate, intentional guidance from them, which will allow you to liberate yourself from this a little differently. Always helps to have a new perspective on your old ways of thinking and feeling, so that you can get out of them, so you don't keep repeating patterns. Um, let's see. Question from Tanya: aren't we all a meld of different consciousnesses in one body? Aren't all our cells a unity in diversity? Um, Yes, all of these things are true, and it is the thing that needs to be resolved. It is the thing that is causing the confusion, because you have this diversity, but you have this unity as well. In the economy of your body, it works quite naturally and easily. In the economy of your human civilizations, not so easily. And the question then follows, why does it not work so easily in our cities as it does in our cells in the body? Why is this? He says it's because the reality is that you do not recognize that you are directing the activities of the cells of the body, that there is a director, that you can simply tell a hand or a foot to do things. You are controlling this whole city, if you like. There is a consciousness that exists in awareness that operates and is learning to operate to the same degree and scope on a planetary scale with all of humanity. Uh, so to speak, he's saying you are like the brains behind your operation. He's referring to our bodies. We are the brain, the awareness behind the operation, that we are directing it. He's saying too many of you fear what is coming because it appears to be something that is separate and distinct from you. But all of these different viewpoints of what you think is occurring are not representative of what is actually occurring. There is a consciousness that you call ascension that is evolving and emerging into the human collective unconsciousness consciously, that is beginning to assert its will over the cells of what you call the individual humans for a higher and more profound effective functioning than any one human can be able to enact on their own. Yes. You will still have individuals, but you will also have a whole. The question becomes for you, which one do you want to be? Do you wish to identify as the individual, or do you wish to identify your awareness as that of the whole? They are very two distinct consciousnesses in degree, much the same way as you find the degree of consciousness of this earthly creature called Gaia, this earthly being. She is a consciousness that is unique and distinct. And you are a small part on her, but she too is part of a greater whole. And so it goes onward. You may liken her as to a cell in a galactic body. as are all the other planets and stars, but cells in a galactic body. So too are you as an individual a cell in the collective of humanity. But you have your own ability to function independent of it, but you can never be separate from it. And the truth is, if you're not separate from it, how can you ever operate independent from it? There are things that you will think, say, and do that impact it, and things that it will do that will impact you, as it is with all things. Cool. I'm going to have to listen to this one over again. Question from Wade. Does John have any messages for me? The only thing coming through, he seems to be putting his hand over just above the heart. Something about something that you have not been saying to someone that you need to speak. You need to speak that truth to them in spite of your fear. You must speak that truth to them in spite of your fear. Again, I don't know who that is or what's that in relation to, but that's what he's got for you, Wade. Thank you for the question. Mary, just excuse me for a moment. Marion, there we go. Let's see, make sure the volume's down on that. Okay, let's scroll here. Okay, Marion is asking, are the headaches and body aches I have been experiencing over the last few months mine alone or a reflection of the state of the human collective? I never used to have so many headaches. There's again, he's saying your understanding of these things is correct. You are tuning into the actual changes that are happening in the human collective unconsciousness. The human collective unconsciousness, which is going through many changes. You can observe your technology and recognize that your biology is also being transformed by your technology, as your biology is influencing and affecting the transformation of your technology. There are changes in the vibrational constant and frequency of your body, your mind, and your emotions. There are changes in their frequencies. That these interchange of frequencies will cause changes in physiology. They will cause changes in emotion. They will cause changes in mind. They will cause changes in time and space. As you begin to make a distinction of your awareness as that which has dominion and authority over your awareness of body and mind and emotion, as you become clear on your ability to change and alter these elements of your being, you will find that these things that you call headaches can be, I'll use the term, transmuted fairly easily if you understand them from the perspective of your own personal transformation to a higher frequency of being. If you get caught up into the symptoms of change, then you become the symptom rather than the agent of change. So I would suggest to you, when you experience these symptoms, to engage them very differently without the annoyance and frustration you've been experiencing. This is what a lot of you have to deal with when you experience physical change. Many of you immediately go to the old paradigm of what the body itself does. When it experiences a change, it experiences it from the perspective of fight or flight, fear or comfort. And that level of subjectivity will leave you feeling that there's something being done to you. Whereas the awareness of your awareness, interacting differently with your form, you can train it to literally integrate and transmute those frequencies and take the body to a higher frequency, or at least a highest frequency as it's capable of going. But when you experience these symptoms, I recommend you do not allow yourself to get attached too deeply to any emotions around whether or not they are good or bad, but recognize how these energies that you experience as physical symptoms are energies seeking to expand and enhance your consciousness and your expression of your consciousness here in time, space, and matter. How does it enhance the consciousness? It enhances your consciousness because you're no longer subjective to matter. You are now altering its frequency deliberately and intentionally. And so there are many of you that are getting a lot of these accelerated symptoms, conditions of memory, what you call some diseases. Do not remain subjective to the emotions and the physical symptoms, but become assertive in your authority over them. Wow. Thank you. Great question, Miriam. Um, Pooja is asking, uh, I want to ask my guardian angel for advice that how can I lose my weight? People around me are saying that I am fatty, but I don't think that I am fat. This is a really beautiful question that deserves an answer. Yes. He's saying the fact that you are concerned about their judgment of you, the fact that you are concerned about their judgment of you will alter your own perception of yourself. If you do not feel as others suggest you are, but you feel joyful and complete as you are, then there is no concern here. However, if what they say disturbs you, then that disturbance in and of itself is cause for some concern from the perspective that you are now subjective to other people's interpretations of what they think you are. They do not know what you are. You are not that body. And if that's how they define you, they themselves are very shallow, for that body does not represent who you are, although it is an extension of the quality of consciousness that you choose to engage in. If your body serves you well and you serve others well with it, it is a good thing. But do not suffer the judgments of others. Do not suffer the judgments of others unless you are calling for change. For some of you will invite judgment in order to change. For you may not be happy with things. Unconsciously, you may not be aware that you are not happy about something, and you will attract this judgment to inspire you to change. But I do not feel that this is the case for you. I feel this is a case where you are debating whether or not you need to adjust to make other people happy. If you are happy in your body and in your heart, in your mind and in your soul, then what does it matter what another would say of you? Mm-hmm. He's saying, he's saying, if on the chance that you wish to lose some of this weight, if this is something that you are desiring, that is a different question to ask. And I would simply say to you, love it away. Make certain you put into your temple those things which satisfy your belief about that which you wish to be in form. Mm-hmm. Also make certain that you're eating properly. Make certain you're consuming things that are living and alive and vibrant. Because when you eat something that's alive, it gives you life, literally. Living food. What more life? Great question, Pooja. Manoj is asking, can I ask Master Jesus, how can I prevent my youngest daughter from getting asthma in winter? Wow, it's funny you asked that question. He just felt great joy. He says, I am overjoyed that you've asked this question of me. First, you must teach her to anticipate winter with excitement and joy. And you must teach her to fall in love with her breath, to fall in love with her lungs, to fall in love with her body, to communicate nothing but her gratitude for them. In fact, she should run around with her breath, being so grateful that it is hers. He's saying the fear she has around winter is an old fear. It's an old fear that she no longer needs to adhere to. But you must first set an example and teach her to look forward to the opportunity to breathe in winter with joy, and teach her that her breath is joy. Teach her. That is what you are, her teacher. Teach her her breath is joy. 24 hours a day. It is joy. Do you not feel joy when you breathe? um, so I'm just laughing because the energy he's communicating to you is like this real, like the joy that you get to experience when you're being who you are without doubt and uncertainty. The joy of being that you're being is so freeing, and he's communicating that to me uh, via the information he just communicated to you. I can feel the freedom that comes with literally the idea that every breath you take is joy, every smile you make is joy, every step, every instant is joy. Can you imagine that? If you had a mind and a focus like that, if we taught our children that every moment is a moment of joy, every moment is a moment of learning, even those moments where we bang our knees, it's joyful because now I've learned that I don't want to do that again. We can look at the suffering or we can see the joy in all things. There's a joy, a plus to every single thing that happens in our lives. And anyway, that's that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Great question, Manoj. Um, wow. So I'm just going to scroll back up. I missed a few questions here. Uh, we got to that. There you are. Okay. Question from Carolyn. May I ask if my spirit guide has any message for me, please, and thank you. I find this very interesting. Your spirit guide. I don't know. I just get they're just showing me an image. I don't know who they are, but they're showing me an image of you literally. I don't know why, but they're showing you literally lying on green grass, literally um, like you're under a sprinkler system under rain, but you're lying flat on your back, like literally receiving. I don't know, and I don't know if the water's a metaphor or if it's literal, but it's about you lying on your back on grass and receiving. Again, I don't know what that is in reference to, but that's what's coming through immediately for you, Carolyn. I'd be really intrigued to know more about it. Let's see. Louise is asking, I feel that this long duration of the recovery process has a particular function for me on my path. What would that function be? Thank you. The first words that came flying in my head was that you are not subjective to the conditions of your body, but that your body is subjective to the emotional conditions that you hold in your awareness. That your body is subjective to the emotional conditions that you hold in your awareness. Wow. Wow. That's cool. Okay, so we are going to flow forward. Louise, yes, I know. Thank you very much. I'll do that. They're just telling me to drink a lot more water right now because the energy when you're a medium and you're working with these higher frequency vibrational beings, your brain, I can speak for myself, my brain, your brain, if you're doing it, your brain will have to process and receive information that's coming in at a different frequency than through the physical frequencies of the five physical senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Your brain, when you're communicating to non-physical beings, your brain literally is being trained to tap into a different frequency of energy, a different frequency of consciousness than it normally does while just in a body. When that happens, the brain works differently. When the brain works differently, it consumes in this level, it processes more energy. And you need electrical conductivity in your body. That's why they're telling me to drink a lot of water. I need more electrical conductivity. Water is a great conductor of electrical energy. And when the brain is processing more electrical information from a different frequency, it uses more energy. You want to make certain that the conductivity in your body's there. That's why I recommend anybody when you come onto these lives, or you're going to practice channeling, or you're going to do spiritual work, always make certain you're properly hydrated, that you have water. Always have water handy so that when you have to recharge and keep. That's why a lot of people fall asleep during meditations. Why a lot of people fall asleep during classes, even though they went there because they're really excited, because their body is required to the brain starts to process energy differently, and when it doesn't have the material inside to do that, communicate the information, it falls asleep. or becomes unconscious. Thank you so much. So that question now. Okay, here we go. Wow, is Patricia's asking? Patricia's asking, is Serafina a guardian of mine or a child who was never born? It's funny you ask that, Patricia. I get immediately both. Was both. Um, but they're saying that I was not born. I was born long before. What you're referring to for me is reincarnation. I have not reincarnated, as you understand it, but I am still born, and I still am. Cool. Um, Question from Zenobia. In the past few weeks, my dog Nico keeps shaking in fear and panic without anything that I can see causing it. What can I do to help him? Um, huh. First words that came in were play. That's when you want to find a way to get him to play. Play with him. Your serious energy. You've cultivated a pattern with him where he gets into that shaky state, and your concern for him actually feeds that state. So get more into play and love. um, Miriam, what is my spirit guide trying to tell me with the number 44? They even woke me up at 4. Meditate. Get up and meditate at 4:44 for the next 4 days. Get up and meditate at 4:44 for the next 4 days. Um, Love and Light is asking. I love that. I love light. How can we overcome oppression that we are all experiencing at the hands of powers that be politically and financially? How can we help future generations to be more free in 3D? Well, to be more free in 3D, you have to become more free in 4D. Energy always flows from a higher potential to a lower potential. If you're not feeling free in here, you're not going to feel free out here. And right now, humanity as a collective whole is literally unleashing all of its hidden unconscious stuff. Its anger, its control, its power. It's been slowly emerging to become obvious to our senses, and it's now emerging as these lockdowns and quarantines and all these things that are happening. These things are being implemented because it's an unconscious process that's being released collectively for humanity to let go of. We have to stop living in fear as a species and as individuals. But ultimately, we have to be responsible for our own individual point first, that we not live in fear. And it can be very challenging to walk down the street now, to go into stores when you're required to wear a mask and still be willing to go in the store and be free, knowing that you're not there to harm anybody. You're not infected, you're not sick, you're not ill. There's certain others. So freedom sometimes comes through action, not just through words and ideas, but through actions. And ultimately, more people need to take actions. A lot of people are convinced of things that are true that are not true. And Master Jesus has told me about this multiple times, that there will be those that come that try to tell you that that which is false is true, and that which is true is false. And you must learn to know the difference between one and the other. It is your choice. And then be willing to stand by that truth that you know. Do not let no man sway you to believe that your truth is a lie. Right? And this is really powerful. You understand, it's an amazing time for us as a species. Because what we all agree to is what's going to happen. If we agree to suffer, we will suffer. If we agree to grow and evolve as a species, we will. It's really a choice. For me personally, as William, I do the best that I can to stay in a state of love and grace. I have my own personal opinions, my own personal beliefs that I keep on a separate platform. That's not, I don't want to cross platform this, because this is the messages from my team and your team to all of us. And I really want to respect that. But never act when you know that something is false. Never pretend it's true. And everybody, yes, I'm sorry, Master Jesus is saying, everybody knows in their heart when something is not true. And everyone knows in heart when something is false. And many of you have been taught to believe that what will be given to you from the world, but that which is true is false is within you from your creator, your father, your mother within you. All truth resides there. You don't need me to poke you with a fork for you to know that that is painful. You know it. Um, sorry, he's never used a metaphor like that before. So learning to make that discernment is really important. Discerning and then sharing your truth from a perspective of love, not to hurt people, but this is my truth. And this is what experience is. This is what science shows. This is what show the reality of it. And again, reality is a subjective term. They keep telling me this. This is just one dimension of reality. That we are all creatively manifesting and manufacturing what we are all experiencing, good, bad, or indifferent. We are all doing this together. We're not separate in this process. You may think it's one group, or you may think it's another group. You might think it's them, and they are doing things and creating things, absolutely. But so are you. And the question is, what emotion do you want to create predominantly with? And what does that emotion translate into as an action? What does freedom as an emotion look like? What does freedom as an emotion look like as an expression? And these are questions that I ask all the time. And they keep telling me, you can figure this out. But the fundamental thing they keep telling me is, you must learn to master your emotion. When you master your emotion, you'll begin to master this world as an expression. You will be invisible to those who are not in opposition to you if you're in a perspective of love. Because fear can only resonate with itself. Love resonates with itself. Cool. Thank you. Here we are. Tanya's asking, my daughter's dad, who I split up with several years ago, started to behave in a very menacing manner, and I started seeing and finding scissors everywhere. Since then, is that a sign from source? Well, I don't know who they are, but I think they're your yes. There's three guardian angels that you have here, and they're saying, cut the ties. The ties aren't completely cut. You have to cut the ties. It does not matter that he is leaving the scissors around. What matters is what you need to do. But cut these ties mindfully and respectfully. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Wow. Uh, Lauren, I know it's a yes and yes. There is a lot of stuff going on right now, and again, we want to, because I know we know, like they keep telling me, there are so many people that are frightened and uncertain because of what's being done, what's true and what's false. And this was talked about, that the sorting out of the wheat and the chaff, by the creator. But you are a creator. You must become aware of what is true and what's false. You must learn to listen within to the creator that is within you. It's beating your heart right now. It will answer any question for you. And learn to know inside yourself, is this right? Is this wrong? Is this true? Is this false? Learn to know that and then live by your truth. Master Jesus was very politically active. A lot of people don't know this. He was extremely active politically. He spoke up for righteousness. He spoke up for love, and he spoke against fear, and he spoke against anything that would seek to harm life in any way, shape, or form. And in that day, it was the Roman Empire, which was still expanding at that point in time. Well, it's in the process of decline, but it still had quite a lot of influence around the world in his day. And he spoke out against it. And we all know how that story ended, right? But he to his final breath in that body, never ever stepped back from his truth, not for an instant. And even in the works that he does now with us non-physically, he still will not step back from his truth for any reason. He says, once you know you are not that body, once you know you are this unlimited being, in terms of consciousness, you will not fear your truth ever. But many of you have been convinced to think that you were restricted to that physical body. But in my Father's house are many mansions, in many mansions. Yes. He's saying in this context, I mean many bodies. So you can reincarnate multiple times. We all have. But most of us don't remember that we have. Most of us don't remember that we will. But when you start to become aware that you are a being, that as you start to become aware that you're aware that you're not bound by time, space, and matter, it changes what you can and can do and what you will and won't do and how you'll create. Thank you. It's a great question. Thank you. Uh, yes, of course. What's the best way to improve? This is from I am. I love that too, I am. What's the best way to improve cognitive skills like memory? I've been using in divine breath and telling my brain to improve. I would like better memory. Well, I got to tell you, I am. We have one of our students, and there's also a friend of mine, Drusilla, uh, who's sometimes on here, brought that very same question to us last Saturday on Supernatural on pardon me on Shortcuts for Your Soul last Friday, and she was given a solution by my guides and angels that she implemented, and the following day she said it was cleared up. There are ways of improving cognitive function. First of all, you've got to decide there's nothing wrong with it. It's not cognitive function that's a problem. It's what's going on in the subconscious mind that gives us the illusion that something's wrong. We store information in our bodies from our five physical senses from the moment we're born, and that information is ongoing. It's in our subconscious field. It might not be active, but it's active unconsciously. And so the minute you start to formulate a belief, I've got problems remembering. When you start making a decision, you created an energy, an idea. An idea creates an energy. Energy creates an emotion. An emotion creates an outcome. And then your brain will start to look for evidence of that. You know, yes, they're telling me to tell you to release your fear of this, to release your fear and get reconnected to the joy you have of being in the present moment. Do not try to be ahead of yourself or behind yourself. Okay, I'll paraphrase. I'm going to paraphrase that. When they're saying to not be behind yourself or ahead of yourself, they're saying be here in this present moment. Everything that you need to exist in this moment is with you in this moment. Um, yes, a lot of you, she said, yeah. They're saying a lot of you try to run back to your past to figure out your present, and then you lose the present. And in losing the present, you actually lose what you sought to gain from the past. You can never gain from the past what is in your present. And really, what you are seeking is that which is in the present, which is what you are, which is love. I'm glad they brought that up because it's important to understand that one of the key components in our mediumship course is learning how to be in the present moment. Learning that process of actually keeping yourself here and now so that you're not going off to before or running ahead and getting confused or creating a past present or a past future. It can be very challenging getting stuck in the mind. But you don't have a memory problem. You have an energy that's interfering with the release of information from the recall systems. Um, okay, you can scroll down here a little bit more. Wow, great questions today. I want to say thank you, everybody, for your questions. It's wonderful that you're all participating in this. And for people that are new here today, please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, um, get this information out there. I mean, this is just one of dozens of episodes that we've done in this show. You can go back and learn amazing things that they taught us through this. But I want to thank those of you that are here. If you want, subscribe to my channel, like it, like this video, share it out to other people, get the information out there. Um, a question from Autumn. Question from Autumn. Can you connect to my son's spirit guide and ask them if they have any message for my wife and I? Wow, interesting. Um, um, they're saying not at this time. It is not the time for you. What you're seeking, they are not ready for. Why is that? They're saying there's something to your right, something to I don't know what they mean by that, but they're saying there's something to the right, there's something not right that has to be righted before that information will come to you, and it will. When that is right, that information will come to you. Sonny's asking, am I attracting a good, fulfilling job for me? They're laughing right away, Sonny. They're saying, the minute you ask that question, you've already decided that you're uncertain as to the result that you want. The minute you ask the question of that nature, you have already told us that you are already uncertain, and your uncertainty will assure you of the result of your uncertainty, just as the excitement and enthusiasm of receiving what you really want would facilitate that manifestation for you. Um, wow. I love that. Isn't that beautiful? I hope everybody's having an awesome day too. Wow, this is I'm just scrolling down, scrolling down. Yeah, thank you. I'm seeing a number of people here talking about asthma. Understand, your breath is sacred. That's why, and your children try to remind you of that when you see somebody in breath, there's a stress of breath. Our fear is that we won't be able to breathe, but the real fear is that you won't remember that you are sacred, that your breath is sacred, that the very nature of your awareness is that you can deliberately breathe. And that is a sacred act, and you can deliberately exhale. But even if the breath is challenged, if you are in a state of reverence for your breath will be reverent. If you're in a state of fear about your breath, it will be a state of fear in your breath. So teaching our children of the sacredness of breathing is so important, right? So many problems in the world can be settled if people just stop and breathe for a little while and got themselves into the present moment. I don't care what level of your finances you're at, or what level of politics you're in, or what your job is. If people stopped and breathed a little bit more deliberately and intentionally, even for a few minutes, they would begin to change their reality just by the simple act of the sacredness of breath. Just, but then and we do a lot of this in our classes and courses. But what happens to people is they start getting the breath and they're going, oh yeah, it's so great, and then they remember what they're supposed to do, and now they're back into their thing and they've forgotten the breath. But if they can continue that sacredness of breathing, it will change the way your mind will think. It'll change what you'll process to do. Your whole dynamic will change just from that active sacred breathing. And I can't remember when it was, but a few weeks back, I can't remember who came through, but it was all on the sacred, there was a whole episode done on sacred breathing, or sacred breath. And I think it was Master Jesus or Metatron, or it might have been a number of them. It was really fascinating. Nikki, question. Yeah, I want to say, if you've asked a question and I haven't answered it, um, there's a lot of questions showing up here, and I know you can see that. Be mindful. If you need your question answered, please use the super chat. I'll get a notification right away, and I can process those. And super chat for $1, even, you can just get a question answered that I can't get to. I will prioritize those questions. There we go. Scrolling down. Nikki, if you want, you can read. Oh, there it is, right there. Can you ask Archangel Michael on how my landlord derived that personal information from me? If it was really one of my friends disseminating info, or did he simply see a document in my apartment? Wow. It's interesting. Their response to you is that, why do you choose to harbor fear of this? You will find that the concern you have of what may follow can be ameliorated simply by the relinquishing of that fear. For now you will create enemies all around you with your fear. It might be this, it might be that. And many of you are doing this even today. You allow your fear to determine um, what it is your reality shall be. And all fear will lead to suffering. You all know this. Relinquish your fear of this. We will not support that. We wish you nothing but love. So release your fear around this, and you will see emerge something you never expected that will make you joyful. But relinquish your fear. Thank you, Nikki. Lauren is asking, why are we as a society allowing all this destruction of our cities? Um, they're calling it redesigning is going on. There is a change in many things that you are not aware of, or that most of you are not aware of. The changes in what you call the global electric consciousness, that you all have a relationship with this earth, that you all have a relationship with all the elements of this earth emotionally, and all the things of this earth that live and breathe and move have an emotional relationship with you and the earth also. This emotional relationship is out of balance, and it is time to correct it. It is time to balance that with love. Release your fear. Balance with love. But you will see emerging a very new expression. It will be either that of fear or that of love. And this thing that you refer to as destruction is the expression of the collective unconsciousness of fear in the awareness of humanity. And it is there for you to see, to release. Cool. Thank you. I got enough time for one more question. I'm just going to close my eyes and scroll down and just pick one. Okay, there we go. Let's see what we got here. Question from Don. My birthday's today, and I wanted to know, happy birthday, by the way, Don. Happy birthday. Any guidance for me today? Well, yeah. I don't know why they're saying this, but they're saying you need to be, you need to find your solitude today. Do not reflect on that which was before, but enter into a joyous relationship with that which you are now. And if that which you are now is not pleasing, then enter into a joyous relationship with it, and that which is not pleasing shall become pleasing. Mm-hmm. They're saying he needs to be more open, out in the open more, out in the open more. So yeah, so go on out, go Don, go out and be out into the open a bit more, and really, yeah, be free and celebrate with what you are now. You know, I don't know, like, I don't normally measure my birthdays anymore, because it's what is right now is the greatest gift I'm ever going to experience. This moment right here, right now. I'm not going to experience my greatest moment at Christmas time or Easter. No, right now. And we've gotten so trained that our joy is in the future, at that date, that time, that interview, that meeting, that we keep distancing ourselves from the love that is the present life that we have right now. And it's time to restore that. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I really, really appreciate it. Hi, Drusilla. Um, Again, this is an amazing time, people. We are really, really blessed at the opportunities that are afforded to all of us while we are in matter. Matter is just one state of your being. It's not that this is not who you are. It's just the instrument you're using in time, space, and matter. And really let go of your fear. Find love in your hearts and let that go forward. but don't be afraid to stand on your truth either. If you know something is right, stand by it. If you know something is wrong, speak up. Do not remain silent. Master Jesus didn't remain silent, and he felt that what he was doing was important enough that he was willing to give his life for it, as a physical extension back then. And there were other beings too. Malcolm X did the same thing. He had very strong beliefs. Martin Luther King, you know, Nelson Mandela. A lot of beings have given their life for their truth, and for what they knew to be right. And we all need to come to that awareness. And ultimately, there's one fundamental truth, is that we are love. In our essence and our core, we are all love. But while we're in a physical dimension, we get to experience differences in that potential. So I want to wish everybody much love today. Have yourself a joyful and wonderful day. We'll see you on Friday for the final installment of Shortcuts for Your Soul for this week. And again, thank you once again. I really, really appreciate your time.